Welcome to blind contour drawing. So if you've never done this before, we're looking at the object and its surroundings, everything in the picture, and we're going to trace along what our eye sees. The tricky part is we're not going to look at the paper, and we're not going to pick up our pen from the paper. So I'm drawing one continuous line that follows along the path of my vision on the lemon and the leaves and everything that I'm looking at. It's going to be tempting to look at the paper and make sure I'm drawing where I think I am, and I'm making the lemon look proportional, that the leaves are going in the right spot. But try to ignore that impulse and just surrender to every little bump and angle change that you see on all of the leaves, the positive and negative space around them. It's kind of relaxing. You just go for a ride. You might trace and retrace over the same spot again and again. Just let your pen go wherever your vision is taking you. And remember, it's one continuous line. So the ballpoint pen, this is a micron pen, anything with a point that isn't going to go away. So if it's a pencil that's going to get dull after a minute or two, that might not be the best choice. So a pen works well for this. Once you get in a groove with this, you can really start to slow down and pay more and more attention, as if you're like a little ant just crawling along, feeling every little bump in the road, and push yourself to explore the different sensibilities you could have in your line, whether it's heavier or lighter. Maybe you can show light and dark based on how much pressure you're applying to the pen into the paper. Some of these bigger shapes, I'm moving a little bit faster because in a way there's like less information there. And then the more dense areas, I'm slowing down and drawing a little bit darker. That's not required, but that's just part of the visual language I'm using here for my blind contour drawing. I feel like that reflects how the plant grows, how it reaches out towards the light. So this kind of a drawing, this practice of blind contour, does a couple things for us at once. One is that it really strengthens the connection from your hand to your eyes, or from your eyes to your hand. In a way, it kind of bypasses our brain or our mind that wants to make it look right, adjust it, make corrections. It's our hand responding directly to what our eye is experiencing. So that on its own is just a practical skill that you want to have when you're drawing. You want your hand to be able to respond to what your eye is seeing and experiencing. But another thing that I like about these is, and you'll notice this in your drawing, it may not look exactly like what you're trying to draw, but it will kind of feel like that in an abstract way. And part of what I like to teach about drawing and painting and art, visual art in general, is when we're trying to represent something or we're trying to make it look realistic, we want to try and capture not just what the object looks like, but what the object is doing. That can be sort of a subjective thing and kind of an abstract concept, but that's what I mentioned before, the way the leaves kind of reach up and out towards the light. They're kind of more densely packed in one corner and they open up going towards the other corner. That's present here in the drawing because it's something I'm aware of and trying to stay aware of as I make each mark. So when we're aware of those different kinds of concepts when we're drawing, not just trying to copy all the details, we can start to, something we can look for in our drawings is not just what we see, but how we see it, how we experience it. That's how we can find gesture and movement in something that isn't actually moving. So the leaves aren't moving. My drawing itself isn't moving anywhere. The thing that moves here is the path of our vision through the picture. And so that's what our pen and our line is going to represent. So again, it's okay if you are tracing and retracing over and over a similar area more than once, because this is a representation of not just what you saw, but how you saw it. So whatever kind of draws you in more often, it's going to have more densely packed lines, which might represent more information visually for our eyes to chew on. And then other areas are going to be pretty light and have a lot of space between those lines. I like looking at plants for these because there's something about how the lines overlap that reminds me of how they grow. If you've ever seen a sped up time lapse of video of a plant growing, they almost kind of vibrate as they unfurl or unfold towards the light. And I feel like this drawing kind of looks like that. But you can do this with pretty much anything. It's really fun with portraits. It's fun to try and draw your hand. Something I always used to do in a drawing class was have the students draw a bicycle for a blind contour. But whatever it is, what matters is that connection from your eyes to your hand. That's what we're strengthening here. So I do this all the time. Not just because it's fun and relaxing and I like it and it's really meditative, but I've noticed how it has helped my drawing and my paintings too. I can look at something when I'm holding my paintbrush and my hand's able to respond in a way that I can trust, and that's important. This drawing was about 12 minutes long. If you want to just set a timer for 10 minutes, that should be enough time. Don't rush. There's no reason to draw quickly for these. Push yourself to see how slowly you can draw and how sensitive your line can be, how much information you can pack into your line. Remember, it's kind of like your hand is like a Richter scale that measures an earthquake, but it's measuring what your eye is experiencing. So be as descriptive as you can. Remember to breathe, take deep breaths. And just try to enjoy it. If you feel like all you want to do is look at the paper and make a more accurate proportional drawing, again, try to surrender to that impulse. That's not really going to help. That's not really the point of this. You want it to look abstract. If you make a perfect drawing of a lemon and the leaves, you did this wrong. So don't try and make a perfect picture. Just try and the point of this is, again, to explore what you can do with line and what that feels like. So don't rush.